Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday comment reading review. I'm going to read some YouTube comments. We're going to react to some YouTube comments. And let me tell you, there's some spicy material last week, so we're going to get right into it. If you want to be in this video in the future, leave a comment on a video and you might make it in. Of course, like, comment, subscribe. That's all really cool. We'll start with all our ban list reactions. And to be fair, you either liked the ban list, you were like, yeah, whatever, okay, cool, thanks, or you did not like the ban list. We start here with Jay Stewart. I'm still not sure how I feel about the ban list. I don't know why. Just part of me feels like I kind of don't care with this ban list. It's not making me hyped to play the game again. Also, I don't like how they completely ignored the blue-green Imperial and the purple Dober package again. Well, the last part's easier. It's because they didn't do anything in the meta right now, so they're not going to touch them. But to address the top point, this is what I've been saying since the last ban list. Yeah, the ban list is going to fix some current problems. Absolutely. And it did. But it doesn't change the dynamic and the way the game is evolving. Or lack thereof, if you want to be that way. The game is still too fast. The game is still ridiculous. The game is still brainless OTK. With exceptions. And that's just how it is. Yeah, you hit a few cards, sure, no problem, but you're just going to be doing it again. And then in a month and 2 months, people will be complaining nonstop instead of Sakuyamon and Megidramon Rush. They'll be complaining about other decks. That's the circle of card game life. It's never going to stop. It's actually only going to get worse. So that's why he's uncertain about how he feels, because ban lists are only there to push product, really. And take care of immediate problems that may have been a whoopsies that they forgot to oversee when they were testing, like the Blue Galaxy Tamer that is now banned. By the way, they did release official verbiage as to why they hit what they hit, and that'll be a video probably on Friday. Let me tell you, oh, it's not good, but we'll save that for Friday. Jermaine Evans. Hitting Purge feels like Stingmon hit with the last ban list for Blue-Green Imperial. They probably need another card hit along with Purge. Yeah, Purge did nothing. Some people say Purge was the right card to hit. Some people say, okay, so what? And a lot of people are on the okay, so what field. They are. And it makes sense because Purge really was not the make or break. People will still play Royal Knights, and it will still be fine. So if you thought it would go away, it's not going to go away. Gift of Knowledge. Well, guess Tropical Venom is the only free memory option left. Wonder how long it'll take for something to break it next. You have some people here in the comments saying nothing will. But people are actively trying. You know, I'm still part of the Digimon Zeitgeist. Yeah, that word applies. And people are trying to cook with Tropical Venom. They are trying to cook. I'm telling you right now. I think it's out of spite, if anything else. Like, oh, you hit my Gravity Crush and my Parabolic Junk and you hit everything else that makes memory for free. Well, you know what? Fuck you, Bandai. Let me make some Tropical Venom shenanigans. So people are actively going out of their way to cook with the Tropical Venom. Will it lead to anything? Oh, we'll find out. But I don't know. We'll see. Neko Brando says, goated ban list, the best we've had has solved so much. To which someone replies, you play Omnimon and Royal Knights, don't you? Which I think is really fitting. Because if you play Omnimon and Royal Knights, you're laughing. You are laughing. Like, you're just like, sure, another day. Like my decks, as I mentioned the other day, Galaxy, Omnimon, Yellow Puppets, Yellow Vaccine, you know. Even my pet decks like Ancient Greymon, you know. Not touched by the ban list. Yeah, one less Gravity Crush. I was playing 2, now I gotta play 1. Oh no. Yeah, like, me, I don't really care. It did nothing to me. But you know, this guy's probably in a similar boat. That's why he feels that way. Moving along, Archer Goon says that, Mario, an important thing to mention about all Force feature models is that there's a future printing of the Premium Heroine set version 2. There's a Arena reprint. Sure, that's not released until next year, but to be honest, buying 2 of these sets were completely cheaper than buying Arenas. That's true, and it does apply. However, if people are going to try All Force now, they're not going to wait until the Premium Heroine set comes out. They're going to try it now. if they think it's doable now because of the ban list changes, right? That's just how it is. Because we're not going to get all Force Vidramon support probably for a little bit now, because we just got it. So you're going to do it now or you're not going to do it. Rena might be a little bit too late. Until the next wave of all Force support, that is. Bedouin Wiseman says there's not much they could do for D Reaper that would make it better than the other white gaming deck. As a stand, the Eaters is mild better. And that is false. I'm going to explain why. Because Bandai has the printing press. Bandai can print whatever words and numbers they want on any cards. If they wanted to break D Reaper, they could. And if they want to in the future, they will. Because they control the verbiage on the cards. They could end up making some kind of ridiculous D Reaper monsters that are cheaper to play, more effects to dress for power creep, stuff like that. I don't think we're done seeing D Reaper support. I really don't think that. I think what's likely going to happen is down the road, whenever that is, they're just going to retrain the D Reaper cards, make them better, like they did with Galactamon. And it'll be meta relevant again. But this is false. At any time, at any point, in any game, the card game designer can break whatever the fuck they want. They can. So we have to get out of this mindset. This is a bad mindset. The card company can do anything they want. If they want to break D Reaper, Bandai will do it. We just don't know until it happens or doesn't happen. So there we go. GeoVexus. I should have bought the pre-sales. I'm on B2A2, man. Why did I listen? You. Why did I listen? You. Someone says on release day, Mario. On release day is the correct answer, right? You buy everything on release day, you're safe. I will give you some leeway, and by leeway, make life harder for you. That release day window is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Because BT2A2, we saw cards get bought out by lunchtime on release day. And that time frame seems to jump each set. So you have to be careful. But, I had everything on release day. I'm happy. And I'm singing. I'm having a good time. That I don't have to pay lots of money for like erratas and the Yukos and all that. I'm a very happy camper. Release day is the way it is. If you don't like that, then you can go fly a kite. I don't really care anymore. Moving along. Taza Dung Beetle. In your opinion, what's the best format that Digimon has seen and why? How is it different than what we have today? Then great video. Keep making content. Thank you. BT5. I've thought about this for a while. I've talked to other people to make sure that my opinions are valid, especially because I'm considering doing this older format circuit, which, by the way, an update. I think we're going to have mats made end late September, I think. I gotta check with the person. I forget. But I think it's around there, which means the tournament will probably be in October. So just so you know. But anyway, out of everyone I talked to and everything I think, BT5 is the definitive best format in Digimon. Now, at the time, people were kind of pissy at BT5 for reasons I don't actually quite understand to this day. People like to bitch and complain. I have no idea. But the back and forth of a Lord Nightmon mirror felt like the closest that we had to, like, chess in Digimon. And that's not a pun. That's actually how I feel about that. The back and forth was insane. Yes, there were no aces to interact on your opponent's turn. Didn't exist. But we all know how I feel about aces anyway. They're stupid, they're useless, they're easy to out, doesn't matter. It was, if you made a mistake, you were fucked and you lost. You had to think very actively. You had to think turns ahead whenever you're playing Lord Nightmon, and especially against the Lord Nightmon mirror. You had to think about the future. If you promote that Lord Nightmon first and it wasn't going to do the job, you were going to get clapped so hard. And that was a skill, right? Because you couldn't interact. The only piece of interaction that really existed was Omnimon X Antibody to negate attacks, which came out in the same set. It was so good. Like, you told the opponent, you know what, here's my board, deal with it. Oh, you have a board? Let me try to deal with it. Hope you didn't waste all your resources as I break your board. All that kind of stuff. It was a beautiful war of attrition, which we don't have anymore. Now it's just, oh, let me OTK you real quick. Don't mind me. And to be fair, we did have Grandis Coagam, not Grandis, Grand Coagamon around BT5. And what that deck did is it did 5 checks with a big giant beetle. Max to Paranos, Max to Paralovs. But you couldn't get the finishing blow that turn. Very rarely, very rarely you could. You just couldn't. So then if you blew all your resources, you were done, right? If the opponent managed to control the board from there, it was game over. So you had to be really careful. And yes, we had Imperial back then, and that was doing fine. And we had Greymon Tribal, and that was okay, and that was fun, doing really well. We got Omnimon Zwart in the set. You know, Lilith Loop really started to take off. Like, really healthy format, lots of decks, and it was a grind game. You had to grind. It wasn't just, let me set up my Valder or my Ruin mode, have a nice day, you can't play the game anymore. It wasn't anything like that. And it wasn't like, oh, you're dead on turn 3. It wasn't like that either. You actually had to think about the cards you played at the time you played them, and you think, what can the opponent do about it? And that was it. So, in my opinion, this is subjective. There are people that think that today's Digimon is the best. They're wrong, but they're entitled to their opinion. BT5 is the best. Can you make an argument for like an older format or one a little bit newer than that? Absolutely you can, sure. But I think the definitive cutoff point is BT9. That's when shit started to go sideways very quickly. So, whatever. We'll deal with that as you will. Selenial. Competitive and Pokemon in the same sentence was not at all what I think I'd hear. Pokemon TCG, one of the worst I've ever seen and played. Even Hearthstone might be more competitive than that. Slop. Well, here's the thing. You are entitled to your opinion. But the mathematics and the numbers says you're wrong. And I don't think I have to expand more than that. Pokemon is a much more successful franchise than Digimon ever was. And the Pokemon card game has been going strong for, what is it now, almost 30 years? Whereas Digimon has failed multiple times. If the game was really that bad, the game either would cease to exist, or the game would have been retrained very, very heavily. And you can actually argue that Pokemon over the ages has really been retrained. Like, you know, we went from basic vanillas to EXs to all sorts of nonsense. But Pokemon plays a lot like older Digimon, where your opponent can't interact with you on your turn because there's no hand traps of Pokemon, there's no interaction, there's nothing, right? So if you make a mistake on your turn, you can lose the whole match. You like I'm not even joking. I've been on the receiving end of that. I've also been on the punishing end of that. If you make a mistake, it can be over as quick as that. So and it's not like pre-baked OTKs. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, you can memorize the 50 steps to an OTK or a board setup, and that's it. It's like an easy bake oven. Digimon is like the same thing nowadays. Pokemon doesn't really have that because Pokemon doesn't really have OTKs unless your opponent bricks. So, you know, I'm not going to try to convince this guy that, you know, I'm right and he's wrong. But the numbers can convince this guy. And if he wants to say ignore the numbers, then that's fine. He can live in some pocket dimension somewhere else. I don't know. Moving along. Andy Man. The upcoming online client has real potential to bring more people in Digimon TCG, especially if it's advertised properly. The biggest barrier right now is simply learning the game. I personally discovered Digimon after collecting Pokemon. All the cards becoming so overprinted, overpriced. It's a lot. It lost its appeal to me. Digimon has been a breath of fresh air with incredible artwork and unique feel. Since no local shops near me carry Digimon, I will be relying on an online client to learn and play. I agree with this, to an extent. Yes, it has real potential. Yes, if Bandai fucks it up, it's over. And the online client is a great way to play the game if you are away from people, like I kind of am nowadays. So, you know, we're hoping, we're praying that this does well. We are. Eddie, something to note is that the competitive scene is an indicator of overall health of a card game. Competitive players make up a small percentage of sales. I think he meant sales. So you have to look at the product's sales to get a feel on the health of the game, which is what I've said. I don't know if he was saying this to like counteract something he thought he heard me say, or if he's just backing up my point. But whenever I say competitive doesn't matter because Bandai still sells the product, that's exactly what I mean. Like, that's exactly what I mean. The competitive players are not all that. As long as everyone else keeps buying Digimon, Bandai's cool. Bandai doesn't care. So, I don't know if that was made in defense or against something he thought I said. I have no idea. But he's right. It's true. Competitive players are not the biggest factoid of the card game. So as long as everyone else keeps buying, it's whatever. Adam. Now, I'm going to show you two comments back to back, just to kind of show you the parallel, the divide of man. Adam says, what do you mean you don't want to do this in 10 years? You got to be Digi for life, man. You're a needed internet personality at this point. Hell, you should do what Asmongold does and just comment intelligently on trending videos topics and down for it. Interesting. And then we have someone like Enigmatic Heart 666 that quotes me, there might be a time I stop doing Digimon content. He says, God, I hope so. So, but a little bit of a hater. And to be real, I've said this before, the hate turns me on. The hate makes me more powerful. I like the hate. And I enjoy it. I really do. But you know, not to this guy's point, more to this guy's point. Here's the whole thing, right? I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm trying to retire when I'm 50. I got 17 years to go. And every year, I get closer. And the goal gets closer too, to be fair. So, things are going well. There are a few reasons why we'll stop making Digimon content. One, if they completely fuck the game. Like, Digimon Client is going to hopefully save it. If it doesn't save it for me, I don't know what's going to happen next. If the game actually dies would be another reason, but I don't think that's anywhere close to happening. Third, if I just don't enjoy making content anymore, I'm not going to. Fourth, if I'm at a point in my life where I'm making so much money I don't know what to do with myself, I'm not going to be here making content. That's a possibility I actually see too, because things are going well. So, there's that. All those reasons could explain why I might turn off the Switch at any moment in time. Keep in mind that I only started vending cards in 2016, and only opened my shop in 2019, and only started making content in 2020. Just because I felt like it. It was my hobby, and I wanted to enhance my hobby. And make a little bit of extra cash if I can too, to help get the goal further along. Which, to be fair, really hasn't put that much of a dent in it. But if it ever would have taken off, I would have rode it into the sunshine, or the sunset. But it never did, and that's okay. That's fine. I'm here. I'm doing my thing. I enjoy it still. But yeah, if there comes a time where any of those four reasons I mentioned apply, that's it. Not that. It's as simple as that. And maybe I stop making Digimon content. Maybe I go back to the Pokemon channel or something. I don't really know. But yeah, that's how I feel. Just so you know. When I say I don't see myself doing this in 10 years, I really mean it. Every time I say that, I lose subscribers. I know, but I'm honest, and I can't stop myself from being honest, because that's what I am. Honest. Yeah, I would be surprised if I'm here when I'm 43 years old, making videos, especially for Digimon. I would be really shocked. But yeah, that's how that goes. Couple more comments. Man, Digimon pricing is bad. The serial cards were cool, but where are they now? Blah, 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 blah. He goes, I'm not going to read the whole comment. You guys can read it if you want to. The lack of events is ridiculous. The pricing is ridiculous. It sucks. That's what this comment says. And to be fair, he even goes at the bottom here and says about Pokemon. Pokemon cash payout is a fraud when you consider how much money you spend trying to chase that regional winner even at top. I have friends that are chasing it and they don't break even at the top. Unless you sponsor Pokemon with all of the time in the world travel, it's never worth it. That depends on you, honestly. Right? And I'm actually going to get into this comment with the last one here in a second, more specifically. If you're having fun, and you can afford to have fun, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking at this for like a job, so to speak, then it matters. At Digimon, you can't do it. You'd have to win literally every event right now. and then hope your prize support sells, basically. Last comment of the day, and this one really takes it home, this last point home. Would you rather have lots of tournaments with poor pricing or some tournaments with okay pricing? Why not both, is my answer to that question. Pokemon does it, Magic does it. Even One Piece does it better. You know what I mean? It's sad, but it's true. You know, but he's referring to Yu-Gi-Oh specifically. If you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh regional every week, you are blowing your money. There is no way in hell, unless you win every regional, and even then, you know, there's no way to make your money back because you have to travel a little bit, sometimes a lot. And even then, the odd YCS they have twice a month or whatever, it's not. Again, you'd have to win one of them, and even that's a bit, not great. So, I really, I think Pokemon competitively does it best. I really think they do. I think they should all strive to be like Pokemon, all games. They really should. And someone will say, but no one makes as much money as Pokemon, blah, 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 all this shit. Do better. Like, seriously. Just do better. I don't have anything else to say to that. And with Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically, though, it depends on your enjoyment of the game, right? I really embraced Digimon and stopped embracing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the direction of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was so fucked in 2020 when Digimon came out that I said, you know what? Digimon looks like a breath of fresh air. Fuck it. And to be fair, it was for a few years. But now it's like, I need to think of how I'm going to word this because someone in the comments will get very angry. Fuck it. It's like the same. It's like the same. Ridiculous OTKs, build a board, break a board, skill-less nonsense. Combos can be memorized. You can pop them out of your deck. It's the only difference is Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a more versatile set of hand traps. And I hate hand traps personally. But at least you can interact with your opponent outside of when they just attack. So they have real interaction in Yu-Gi-Oh! Unlike Digimon, which only has fake interaction. Besides the odd thing that exists, like Bite and Crush, which the game needs more of. So there you go, and that's it. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have a nice day. Bye.